Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add printing functionality to your Silver Essence solution. And I will show you that using a portal. Let's click this one. This is a portal of a company that does training events. And up here, you can see all the information on the training event itself. And underneath, we have a list of participants. These are the people that should show up on the event days of this training event. Now, you can see the information on screen, but in some cases, you might also want to print out this information. For example, you need a signature of the participants or from the trainer doing this training event. So that's what we are going to cover in this video. And these printing layouts, we do that in HTML. And here I have created a layout that I want to use, and it's done simply by designing an HTML page. And you can do it on your local computer. And you can use your favorite editor like Microsoft FrontPage or Dreamweaver. You can use any editor for that. But because you don't have access to the data yet, just put in something. I always use 3 dots here for the placeholder where information is going to come. This is my Visual Studio environment. I have done the design in Visual Studio, but as said, you can use any editor for that, providing you can edit the HTML source. Now, if you don't have any experience with HTML, I suggest the first thing you do is go to our training website, and there you will find linked to websites of w3schools.com that have training courses on HTML, CSS for styling, and even some JavaScript. So first thing you need to do is design the page you want to use and put in some placeholders for the data where it should come. Then in the source, add this line. And let me zoom in on that a little bit. This is the line you need to put in. Silver repeater, and it points to a data source. Now let me collapse these elements here, and you can see the silver repeater starts and ends here. And you point to a data source, in this case a Silver Business Entity, the Silver Business Entity event. Now, which Silver Business Entity you should use, that comes of course from your configuration. So let's go into the editor and I select the business entity event. These are all properties of an event, like the account ID, the code, the start date, and the end date. And that is the information that is shown in the top part of the page here. There you have all the fields, all the properties of the training event. So using those properties, we are going to put them in our design. So one thing we want on the layout is the event type. So we select event.eventTypeID here. And then I go into my design and I have to stay within that silver repeater. Let's see here. It should come in here. So here we want to have that business entity property, and there I paste the event type ID. Now, event type ID is a unique identifier, and we don't want the unique identifier value, but we want to have the lookup value. So simply add lookup after the property name here. And that will take care that you don't get that unreadable unique identifier, but the value that should go and the value that is shown in the user interface of the portal as well. Now, let's copy paste that and let's go into the next one. That's a double span. That's a bit too much. So we want to have the event code. Now, event code, that is a property that does not have a lookup, so we can simply use event.event code here. And in the same way, you can put in all the other fields here as well from the event. Now, let's go to the list of registrations here. This is the list of participants and it's shown here in this matrix below. And here we have the table header, and that's this line here. There's only one table header, and I made one row below here. Of course, we don't know how many participants are enlisted on this training event, so we are going to use a little trick here. Now let's collapse the header row, and outside that one table row, I again put a silver repeater. And this one points to a linked list of the event registrations. Now, this repeater will take care that the line will not be shown one time, but one time for every registration. And let's go up here into the editor again. Here you see the linked lists of the event. And these are all lists you can use in the design. So you could also put in a list of the event days, maybe training material references. You can put all those lists in your design as long as you put in that silver repeater and specify the data source linked list. Now, once you are in that linked list of event registrations, you have the event registration itself. And here you do the same trick. Just copy paste the property you want here. So for example, we want to have the business entity property event registration dot account ID. And again, we want a lookup value for that. This line will put in the organization of the participant, and we want to have the participant himself also. So instead of account ID, we're going to put in person ID here. So this will fill the data in the design. If you click F5, here you will see the values as you have put in into the design. And you can put it in everywhere between those elements, or you could put it in attributes. And let me clarify that here. As you can see, business entity property and then the name of the property, it's enclosed by a span. I could also use it as an attribute within, for example, the hover of the row, so you could put in a mouse over effect here. But what you cannot do here, and let me go to the start and end date here. Let's see where I have that. That's here. You cannot put in from and then business entity property to the next business entity property. You have to stay within an HTML element or an HTML attribute. So that's why I always use the span element around it, so you can use text in front of it or after it. So in this way I can put in from start date to end date. That's using the span element here. So it will look like this. Okay, so step by step put in all the properties you need for your layout here. And once you are done with that, go up to the editor, to the business controllers tab. You want to print something with event. So in the edit mode, go to prints here. Click add print. And here you can give it a name. And you can give it a UI name, the name that will show up in the user interface. And then browse for the file you want to upload. Click save. And then you will see this will be the template for your print. Now let's save the changes to the configuration and let's go back to the tab of the portal here. Let's refresh the page here. Go to the share and collaborate up here, and there you will see the third print layout. And as you can see, it will put in the data for your properties, and where you pointed to the linked list, it will point to the data and it will repeat the same table row for every participant as shown here on screen. So these are the steps to add printing functionality. Create your HTML design. When done, add those silver repeaters and point to the correct data sources, and then replace your placeholders with the business entity properties here. That's it for this video. Good luck and good printing!